Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome to Guns N' Roses Central. And I wanted to do a video about whatever happened to Erin Everly. Now, a lot of Guns N' Roses fans know her as the girl in the Sweet Child of Mine video, and of course as Axl's girlfriend and his first wife, even though it was for a very short period of time. Now, a lot of fans ask, well, she was involved with the band in the 80s and early 90s, but whatever happened to her afterwards? So we're going to talk about that in this video, but first I want to talk a little bit about Erin Everly. So she was born in 1965 in Los Angeles, California. She's about 3 years younger than Axl Rose was, and she was born into a show business family. In fact, she's the daughter of Don Everly, who is best known as being part of the famous rock and roll duo the Everly Brothers, and her mom was actress turned clothing designer Venetia Stevenson. Now, her parents divorced in the 70s, in large part due to the fact that her father struggled with drug addiction and was even hospitalized at one point. So fast forward now to 1986 in Los Angeles, and Erin Everly ended up meeting Guns N' Roses singer Axl Rose at a party. So back then he was 24 and she was 19. Eventually, she moved back to Los Angeles from New York to continue their relationship. Here's what Mark Cantor had to say about Erin Everly.
In rotation.
What can you tell us about Erin Everly?
Well, she was in a relationship with Axl. I remember when she first came around, and she had a good job. She was doing a little modeling, and she always had a little bit of money on her, and she took good care of Axl. She didn't seem the type that would hang around with Guns N' Roses. She looked like, you know, a step above, you know, like, she didn't look like a stripper.
You heard what she thinks about this song?
Oh, I know she's proud of the song. I mean, even to this day, I'm sure she's proud of it. That song will always be attached to her. So, and she's in the video.
You say like Sweet Child of Mine turned things around a bit?
You know, their audience level without Sweet Child of Mine was like that, we'll say, right? As soon as they put Sweet Child of Mine in, it became pretty much that. She was in love with Axl, and Axl was in love with her, and they were actually a good couple.
They were? I mean, I heard they were pretty, bad times as well.
Well, I'm sure every now and then they had fights or whatever, and, you know, things like that happen in every relationship. Maybe theirs a little bit heavier, but when they weren't fighting, they were a great couple.
So it's also important to note that she starred in another Guns N' Roses video, which was the unreleased video for It's So Easy. That video is a lot more raunchy than the Sweet Child of Mine video because it featured her in bondage gear. So this is an example of one of the commercials that Erin Everly starred in. Here's a little snippet of it.
You know, after today, we're never going to be the same again.
Jordache Basics.
It's not the end of the world. I'm only going to college.
Oh, come on. We both know what's going to happen. You're going to change.
Look, you could go too. It's not like you don't have the grades.
Oh, sure. 4 more years of school, right? Well, no thanks. I really hope you realize what you're doing.
I hope you do.
So 4 years after they started dating, the couple finally got married on April 28, 1990. The couple exchanged vows in a wedding ceremony held at Cupid's Inn Chapel in Las Vegas. In September of 1990, 4 months after her marriage to Rose, Erin Everly unfortunately lost her baby, and the miscarriage brought down their relationship as well. Rose and Erin decided to end their marriage after 10 months, and they separated in January of 1991. So in 1990, Axl and Sebastian Bach called into the Howard Stern show, and Axl talked a bit about his then-wife, Erin Everly, and she even got on the phone and talked to Howard a bit as well. Here's the interview.
Oh, so you guys are in L.A.?
Yeah, we're like overlooking Sunset and Tower Records.
So Axl, man, you getting tons of girls or what?
What?
What are you doing all day?
He just got married, and I guess the marriage is over?
Hey, yo, Axl, what happened?
No.
You're still married?
Marriage is stronger than ever.
Really?
Really?
Marriage is rolling.
Yeah, and are those other guys in Guns N' Roses still being a pain in the ass, or are they getting it together?
Oh, hey, everything's rolling, man. We just laid down 29 basic tracks.
Really? You know what I like about you guys?
I'm waiting for a new album here.
Dude, we're giving you a 4-box set this time. It's like, you know, it's like buy or die.
Hey, so what's the deal, man? So you don't go out with any other women? You just go out with your wife?
I go out with my wife. My wife's best.
Your wife is very fine. I saw her. And her father's
thank you.
Her father's like one of the Everly brothers or something.
Yeah, well, you know, he doesn't really have any association with anything. He's in his own little ozone layer.
Oh, yeah? Oh, he's upset because you married her?
No, man. It's like I talk to him more than she has. He's in his own zone there.
I mean, you got tons of money and stuff. What's his problem? It's not like you can't.
Problem?
It's not like you can't support her or something.
Well, he never did.
That's right. Oh, you mean he never supported her?
Yeah, he's saying he has a better relationship than the daughter with her father.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, so the guy's a creep.
That's what I hear. I don't know.
But she's so fine, man. I saw her. She's very fine.
Erin, you saying how fine you are on the
Oh,
air.
she's there.
Hey, let me speak to her.
Erin, Howard wants to speak to you.
Axel's
Come here,
wife.
Erin.
This is
She's
good.
Like getting all embarrassed and giggling. She's like, can't do it.
She is so hot. What's she?
Oh, come on.
Hey, Axel.
You're on the air live.
Axel, what's she wearing?
What is she wearing?
Yeah.
She's wearing a black evening gown.
What is Erin wearing?
She's wearing a black
What is Erin wearing?
Her and Sebastian's woman are like becoming close friends.
She's wearing a black evening gown? Hey, that guy Sebastian will steal your wife, man.
What now?
That guy will steal your wife.
Oh, man, you don't know how this works.
Yeah, I know how it works.
No, you don't know how this works, man.
What do you mean? How does it work?
Around the same time, this is when the bottle incident happened with Axl's neighbor, and it led to the inspiration behind the song Right Next Door to Hell, or at least part of the song anyway. So here's where Axl talked a bit about the miscarriage to Kurt Loder on the phone.
The kind of police bust the mainstream media love. Hard rock superstar arrested for beating woman with wine bottle. The star was Guns N' Roses singer Axl Rose, who was arrested at his Los Angeles apartment in the wee hours of Tuesday morning after a run-in with his next-door neighbor, a 37-year-old woman named Gabriella Cantor. She charged that Rose had shouted at her when she came home at about 2:30 in the morning, tossed her condo keys off the 12th floor and down to the ground, and then took a wine bottle she was carrying and hit her in the head with it. Released on $5,000 bail a few hours later, Rose had a rather different take on the incident.
I live next door to a psycho.
Yeah? She been out on you, man?
Oh, she's been going on for a couple of years now.
Yeah?
Yeah. But what do you want from her?
What can you say, huh, man?
What can you say? Have a good one. See you in court.
We've been unable to reach Ms. Cantor, who has an unlisted telephone and no attorney of record with the police, but we did speak to Axl Rose on the phone a few hours after his release, and here's his side of the story.
I was sitting here at home with a friend of mine, Dave Lank, and his fiancee, Kane, and my wife, Erin, was asleep. She had a miscarriage last week, and she's just been in bed. And my neighbor was out in the hallway at about 1:30, drunk and yelling to talk to Dave. And she doesn't even know Dave. She just seems to latch on to my friends from Indiana.
I want to introduce you to my wife, Erin, and Victor Everly Rose.
Axl has had many triumphs and successes.
So following the marriage, Axl talked a bit about his relationship with Erin. He said, Erin and I treated each other like shit, said Axl. Sometimes we treated each other great because the children and us were best friends, but then there were other times we were just fucked up each other's lives completely. And this is something I really didn't know until I read the article. So according to Rolling Stone, Great White, who's managed by the same manager that managed Guns N' Roses, Alan Niven, apparently they used a recording of Everly fending off punches from Axl on the Psycho City album. So in 1994, People magazine ended up publishing an article about Axl Rose and the lawsuits he was involved with his former girlfriend Stephanie Seymour and his ex-wife Erin Everly. So originally Stephanie Seymour ended up suing Axl, and Axl ended up suing her. And then in March of 1994, Everly initiated her own lawsuit against Axl. So in March of that year, she filed a suit in Los Angeles charging that he had subjected her to physical and emotional abuse and claiming that he had frequent unpredictable rages. Now, Rose claimed in court papers that it was Everly who actually provoked Rose a lot of the time. At the end of the day, the lawsuits would end up being settled out of court. But there is one interview where Axl talked a bit about the court date he had with Erin Everly and how it served as an inspiration for a song called Oklahoma, which never ended up coming out on Chinese Democracy, but it was written for the album. Axl told Rolling Stone in 2000 that there was another song on Chinese Democracy called Oklahoma, heard only tonight as an instrumental. It was inspired by a court date with his ex-wife Erin Everly. I was sitting in my litigation with my ex-wife, and it was the day after the bombing, referring to the Oklahoma City bombing in 1995. Rose remembers with a wince, we had a break and I'm sitting with my attorneys with a sort of smile on my face, more like a nervous thing. It was like, forgive me people, I'm having trouble taking this seriously. It's just ironic that we're sitting here and this person is spewing all kinds of things and 168 people just got killed. and this person I'm sitting with here, she don't care. Obliterating me is their goal. So following her split from Axl Rose, Erin Everly ended up dating some well-known celebrities, including David Arquette, Anthony Kiedis of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Donovan Leitch Jr., Matthew Nelson, and Matthew Klin. So she ended up remarrying a fellow named John C. Portman III in 1997 and moved to the city of Atlanta where he lived. So the couple ended up having 3 children, and in 2006 they ended up divorcing. So it came out in 2010 that Erin Everly was arrested for domestic violence. She was picked up in August of 2010 for attacking her boyfriend Matthew Klin with a knife. He and their daughter also had protective order out on her for 2 weeks. So Guns N' Roses played a show in Atlanta, Georgia back in 2011, and a lot of Guns N' Roses fans noticed that Erin Everly was in attendance at that show. So some people speculated that the reason Guns N' Roses never played Atlanta in 2002 or 2006 is because Axl knew Erin lived there and maybe he was worried she would show up, and maybe by 2011 they had reconciled and things were now back to normal between them. Fast forward now to 2013, and Rolling Stone reports that Axl Rose's ex-wife is selling love letters and their wedding video from 1990. So there was an auction being held where she was selling a number of things, including candid photos of Rose, some of which were from his childhood, letters from Rose that he wrote to her, handwritten song lyrics, clothing he wore in music videos, and even their marriage certificate. So the letters offered a glimpse into the couple's relationship, which was occasionally turbulent. As transcribed by the Daily Dot, a note from the flower shop bore the inscription, scrawled in capital letters, "From an asshole." In another letter, Axl complained that his given name, William, was too much to bear and signed off, "Think of me when you wipe your ass." There's also a 3-part note in which Rose assures Everly of his fidelity, saying, "You knew what you got when you got involved with me," and he wrote a lyric-like paragraph to her. "You didn't need to play it so tough. I should have known better. I never realized how much you cared and wanted me. Sometimes I'm an insensitive bastard." And sometime after her birthday, he wrote her a note that said, "To Erin, sorry your birthday sucked. Love, Axl." So one batch of letters was expected to fetch between $600 to $800. His flannel shirt from Welcome to the Jungle was expected to bring in between $1,000 to $2,000. And the priciest items were the couple's wedding video and marriage certificate, which were expected to sell between $2,000 to $3,000 each. So in late 2014, Erin Everly was one of the first people to announce that Megan and Slash were back together. If you guys remember from Slash's book, he dated Megan back in the late 80s, and then he got back together with her in 2014, and almost literally a day after this post was put up on social media, it was announced that Slash and his second wife would be divorcing. So really the last news we got from Erin Everly was back in August of 2016. Guns N' Roses were on tour as part of the Not in This Lifetime tour, and Harry Brandt, who is the son of Axl Rose's ex-girlfriend Stephanie Seymour, recently posted a message on his Instagram where he paraphrased Axl Rose. He said, "You got hit by a truck," and the license plate said Seymour. "Happy birthday to the woman that inspired me since 1996. I love you, Mom. There's no other Stephanie." So Rose once reportedly described the impact Stephanie Seymour had on him to his assistant Colleen Combs. He said, "I've been hit by a Mack truck and the license plate says Seymour." So Rose's ex-wife Erin Everly responded to Brandt's Instagram post and basically said, "This was brought to my attention. I could say a lot about this, but I'll just say it's unnecessary and cruel. One day will tell my truth." She reportedly wrote in another comment, hashtag like mother, like son. So that does it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Was there anything you guys learned? Let me know in the comment section. And be sure to subscribe if you love Guns N' Roses as much as I do. Take care.